Welcome. Goal 1. Identify the traits of a good learning coach. So for this session, we wanted to ask you to think out loud about what comes to mind when you think of a good learning coach. How does the environment that they create facilitate look, sound, and feel? So the environment's pretty important here as we go into this topic. Um, so if it's a VTC lab where students are talking to the teacher, or if it's a learning lab, or if it's only an online learning coach or a blended learning site facilitator, each of these environments has a different set of skills that are employed. Some of them are overarching, others are unique to the environment. So think of your environment as we go through this. So first of all, there are the soft skills. And soft skills are defined as the cluster of personality traits, social graces, communication, language, personal habits, friendliness, and optimism that characterize relationships with other people. This is one of the more important skills that a learning coach has. And notice on this graphic here, the soft skills are encompassing the hard skills. Hard skills we'll get to in a second, but they're the things that are specific to the job that you have. So in a way, it's like being able to take attendance, being able to use email. Down here in the second graphic, um, they equate soft skills oftentimes with emotional intelligence. So we think of uh, our intelligence test, the famous intelligence test is the IQ test, and the IQ test measures a certain amount of things, but IQ test doesn't necessarily predict how successful a student's going to be in life, or a person who's taking the IQ test. But the EQ, or the emotional quotient, the emotional intelligence test, is a much higher predictor. Your skills at communication, optimism, all that kind of stuff, play a big factor in your happiness and success in life. So here are some skills examples. Careful listening skills, patience, caring about student success, growth-oriented speech patterns to respond to students. That's big. Figuring out what a student is asking for when they're asking for help. That's definitely a skill, and you may have encountered this one before. Encourage students to participate in solving technology problems. Creating a culture of everyone helping everyone with questions on the content and the technology. Communicating clearly and tactfully with students and other staff. Okay, those are the soft skills. Hard skills, the occupational requirements of a job. It does depend on the environment. Generally, a learning coach should have, and I'm going to break this into two categories of hard skills. There's the things that they should have, that's like a knowledge, and then the things they should be able to do, that's the next slide. So they should have some technology troubleshooting, know when and how to ask for help, knowledge of the LMS that the students are using, knowledge of the skills and abilities that distance delivery students must have to be successful. That was last unit, remember last week's topic. Knowledge of the communication tools available and how to use them. Knowledge of a goal-setting process and how to facilitate the use of that process by students. Knowledge of the student monitoring software. That could be Apple Remote Desktop, or it could be just, if you're in a computer lab, staring at the kids' screens from the back. And then knowledge of the rules of the lab or the program. Okay, that's stuff that you know. You should be able to know that. That's kind of a learned skill. This slide describes the occupational requirements of a job. Depends on the environment. Generally, a learning coach should be able to maintain regular contact with teachers, parents, and students. Attend PD sessions or professional development sessions as requested. Maintain proper documentation throughout the school year. Things like attendance, things like um, who's had an infraction with something or whatever your particular situation is. Review the acceptable use policy with distance delivery students and monitor for infractions. Monitor each student's progress in their course or courses. Report any technology problems to the appropriate person. That's when it's out of your hands. Consult with the distance learning coordinator concerning strategies to motivate distance learners. You are the first line of defense. So if you see something that's not working, tell somebody. Suggest to the distance learning coordinator any improvements in course content or delivery that could improve effectiveness. Okay, those are things that you should be able to do. Not so much knowledge, but demonstrated skills. So, relative importance, the skills can be developed and knowledge can be gained. Anybody can be a good learning coach. Soft skills are harder to develop than hard skills. What did you jot down for characteristics of a good learning coach? Hopefully some of them were talked about here. On the discussion board, we want you to describe how you're evaluated in your job as a learning coach. And how does this compare with what you actually do in your job? That means if you're hired to be a learning coach, but all they check, or all your boss or whoever pays your salary checks, is that you're there every day, then that's a way you get evaluated, that you're present. But if you're actually doing a lot more stuff in your job, then this is a good opportunity to write that down, and we can look a little bit at that discrepancy in our next lesson. Then your ePortfolio activity is to write a job description for the position that you hold that includes a checklist of skills or traits that should be evaluated. We're not trying to get you to make something that is going to be your new job description and you're going to be held to it, but think from the perspective of somebody employing somebody who's going to do a good job with the students in your scenario. What would they look for? And then you'll describe one skill that you can improve using the SMART framework. We'll talk about that in our next lesson. Okay, thank you.